Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Killer Mech. I have been playing ESO since the launch and decided to create a channel to bring new, interesting, and fun builds to the community. These builds will be the ones I have created and also use in-game. I would like to start out by giving a shout out to Sherman's Gaming. He introduced me to the theory crafting side of ESO and opened my eyes to think outside the box to create builds that stand out, are fun to play, and are still viable for the average player. I decided for my first video I would bring out my updated version of the Tesla tank for the Dragon Bones patch. I do have 8 more builds that I will be uploading in the next week or so. Most of them are done and ready for release, but I am still working on a few that need some minor changes and more testing. Okay, so let's get into this build. This is a solo/tank PvE build for normal dungeons, vet dungeons, normal trials, and general world play. The race is a high elf, class is sorcerer. I put 64 points into health. You have a max magic of 23,000, max health of 34,000, max stamina of 15,000, spell damage 2,400, spell critical 46.5%. Your spell and physical resistance is 27,000. This is unbuffed. We are running the Thief Mundus Stone just for the extra spell critical strike rating. We are also using a tri-stat food, which the food we are using is longfin pasty with melon sauce. Alright, so when you buff up on this character, as you can see, your spell damage is now 2,800, and your physical and spell resistance on the staff bar is 29,000, with 32,000 on both on the sword and board bar. Now, let's get into the gear. We are running a 5-2 setup, 5 heavy, 2 light. We are running the monster set Stormfist, heavy head reinforced tri-stat glyphs, light shoulders sturdy with a max magic enchant. As for the first set, we are running Thunderbugs. You're going to go chest heavy, reinforced tri-stat glyphs, all 3 jewelry pieces with spell damage, a shield Nirnhoned with a max health enchant. Now, for our second set we are running Julianus. The waist is going to be sturdy, light, with max magic. The gloves are going to be heavy, sturdy, with max magic. The legs are going to be heavy, reinforced, tri-stat glyph. Boots will be sturdy, heavy, with max magic. And you're running both Julianus weapons, one-hander and a lightning staff, both infused. The lightning staff will have the crusher enchant on it. The one-hander will have your weapon and spell damage glyph. Now, as for passives and skills. Passives, in Dark Magic, you want all your passives in Dark Magic. Daedric Summoning, all you need is Power Stone and Daedric Protection. Storm Calling, you're going to want all your passives out of that. Weapon, one-hand and shield, you're going to want all the passives out of there. Destruction Staff, you want all of your Destruction Staff passives. Armor, light armor, you want just the top 3. Medium armor, you don't need any of the passives. Heavy armor, you want all 5 passives. For guilds, on the Fighters Guild, all you're going to want is Intimidating Presence and Banish the Wicked. Banish the Wicked is going to give you extra ultimate gen whenever you kill Undead, Daedra, or Werewolf. Mages Guild, you want Persuasive Will and Magic Controller. Undaunted, you want both of the passives from Undaunted. Racial, of course, you're going to want to unlock all your passives for your racial. Crafting, alchemy, all you really need is medicinal use. Provisioning, you're going to want gourmand and connoisseur. Now, for our actual skill bars. On our front bar, we are running Pierce Armor. This is going to be your debuff and your taunt. The debuff is going to inflict the enemies with Major Fracture, Major Breach, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 5,000. Next, you want Dark Exchange, the Stamina Morph, which will give you health and magic. Then out of the Sork abilities, you want Lightning Flood. Then we are going to run Inner Light from the Mages Guild. The reason we are running this is because while it is slotted, your max magic is increased by 5%, and your spell critical rating is increased by 2,191. Next ability, Bound Aegis. You're running this because it will give you the minor buffs of Minor Resolve, Minor Ward, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 1,300. Also, while the armor is active, your max magic is increased by 8%. As for ultimate, we are running Eye of the Storm. This is just going to be a heavy hitter ultimate you're going to use for clearing trash or applying extra damage to a boss if you're in a dungeon. On your back bar, we're running Boundless Storm. This is going to be your Major Resolve, Major Ward buff, giving you 5,000 physical and spell resistance. It also does a dot damage of 713 shock damage every 1 second. Then we have Power Surge. This is going to be your spell damage by 20%. But also, while it is active, whenever you deal a critical damage, you heal for 2,805 health. And that can occur every 1 second. Next up, Unstable Wall of Storms. I mainly went with this morph just because when it ends, it explodes for extra damage. Then we are also running Inner Light, Bound Aegis, and Eye of the Lightning, just like the front bar. As far as rotation, you're going to want to start on your back bar. You're going to buff up, let down your AoEs, Dark Exchange, or Taunt, either way. You could do those in either order, as needed. Okay, so let's get into the champion points. We'll start in the red tree. You want 23 points into Ironclad, reduces the damage taken against direct damage attacks by 10%. 31 points into Spell Shield, increases your spell resistance by 2,700. 43 points into Hardy, reduces damage taken from physical, poison, and disease damage by 10%. 43 points into Elemental Defender, reduces the damage you take from flame, frost, shock, and magic damage by 10%. 16 points into Expert Defender, reduces damage taken from light and heavy attacks by 10%. 43 points into Quick Recovery, increases your healing received by 10%. Heavy Armor Focus, 41 points, increasing your physical resistance by 3,400. For the green tree, 37 points into Warlord, reduces the cost of Break Free by 15%. 25 points into Bashing Focus, reduces the cost of Bash by 15%. 43 points into Tacticy, increases the magic and stamina your fully charged heavy attacks restored by 10%. 43 points into Arcanus, increases your magic recovery by 10%. 36 points into Tumbling, reduces the cost of roll dodge by 14.7%. 56 points into Shadow Ward, reduces the cost of block by 20%. As for the blue tree, 43 points into Blessed, increases your healing done by 10%. Then you want 37 points into Elfborn, increases the damage and healing of your critical strikes with magic abilities by 15%. 43 points into Elemental Expert, increases your flame, frost, shock, and magic damage done by 10%. Physical Weapon Expert, 27 points, increases your damage with light and heavy attacks for the sword and board bar by 16.4%. 34 points into Master at Arms, increases the damage done with direct damage attacks by 14%. Last, you're going to put 56 points into Thaumaturge, increases the damage done with damage over time effects by 20%. Now with this build, you're going to be doing a lot of dots and a lot of lightning damage. So the 56 points in Thaumaturge and 43 points in an Elemental Expert is going to increase your overall DPS. Now you may be wondering why I didn't put any points into Staff Expert. And the main reason is, with using this build, I have noticed that I hardly ever use any light or heavy attacks with my staff. I mainly stick to sword and board bar for light and heavy attacks. Okay. Well, let's see this thing in action. Of course, you buff up, lay down your dots, taunt, dark exchange, and then heavy attack. When your dots go down, simply reapply them and continue with your heavy attacks. Use dark exchange. Now, as you can see, we really don't take a whole lot of damage. We do quite a bit of damage. We have 18,000 DPS for that right there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos on ESO. Comment down below for requests or any questions that you may have. Hope you all have an awesome day, and I will talk to you all next time.